song.
When I was a kid, I remember hearing that if you left a tooth in fizzy drink, it would dissolve. But is that true? The best way to find out is with an experiment. First I'll need some teeth. Thank you, Peter. Just stay very still. It turns out Peter doesn't want to give up his teeth, and they're plastic anyway, so we need to use something else as an analogue to stand in for the teeth. I've got some eggshells. I'm going to use some whole eggs because I think that might be interesting. I've also got some seashells from the beach, and some chalk to try out. These all contain quite a bit of calcium, as do teeth. As my variables, I want to check some different liquids against each other and how they will affect the teeth analogues. So I've got a range of drinks, some lemon juice, and I'll use water as a baseline. I also got some hydrochloric acid, which you should not use at home, but we all want to see what happens. You won't need so many variables at home, but I'm using quite a few, so luckily I've got lots of beakers. We want to make sure we plan our experiments so that we can get the best quality data. We need something to record with, we need things to measure with. I'm going to use the weight, but we can also use photos for before and after comparison to see how our solutions affect our tooth analogues. Start with your hypothesis. There are formal ways of doing this, but for our purposes, your best guess at what will happen is fine. Here was my planning process. I thought about what measurements I would use, then what my variables were, and then I planned out a chart so that I could record the data before treating the tooth analogues with my solutions, and I'll use the same chart to record my findings afterwards. That way I can make a good comparison and see what's happened. It turned out actually much more interesting than I expected, especially the lemon juice and the hydrochloric acid, but I'll share my results with you later. I also went through and took a photo of my tooth analogues before starting. That might be easier for you to do at home, because you may not have very sensitive scales, for instance. Now that that's set up, I just add my solutions to my tooth analogues. Before using the hydrochloric acid, I put on safety equipment, which is very important when we're working with something so dangerous. Don't try this at home. I'll turn the sound up for this one so you can hear the hiss when the acid goes onto the eggshell and the seashell. It's pretty interesting. All that's left to do now is to leave our tooth analogue in our solutions and see how they're changed after a day or two. I checked mine after a day and then after 3 days, and it was actually really interesting. Please post your results online so we can see them, and I'll share that video later. Okay, I will share one result now. After just a few minutes, the seashell was completely dissolved. Gone. Happy experimenting!